action. Right? If I come in and say there's a fire, there's a fire, you go, yeah, whatever, then I know you don't believe me. Right? Belief and action are two things that are connected. Beliefs affect the way that you behave. If they don't, then we could say fairly that they are not truly beliefs. Those things are not really beliefs. You don't really believe them. So deen, let's think of deen as the way that you live your life. It's your life, it's your lifestyle. Now let's ask ourselves, what is our deen? Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam. Verily, the way of living, the lifestyle, the way of living with Allah is Islam. Not the religion. The way of living with Allah is the way of living that is submission to Allah. That is not something that is a part-time occupation. It's not something that you do for some bits of your life. But many Muslims are like that. Many Muslims are Ramadan, well, you know, I suppose the most extreme Muslim is the Hajj Muslim. You know, the one who says, I'll make Hajj when I'm 60 and then I'll change my life. That's the Hajji Muslim, right? No prayer, not even Ramadan, not even going to Eid, nothing. They do nothing. They don't follow anything of Islam. Maybe, as the Prophet ﷺ said, a time will come when a person, that all you will find with them, all that you will find left of the deen is they are following their desires. That's all it is. You know, they will keep away from evil, but they only keep away from evil because it's in their desires that they don't like that evil. There may be people here who are, you know, they don't like homosexuality. Why? Because they just don't feel comfortable with it. They'll just as readily drink alcohol, fornicate, have girlfriends, whatever, but homosexuality, they won't do it. Because really, why? They just don't feel comfortable with it. In fact, in reality, the morality is just their desires. This one I desire, that one I don't. That doesn't make you a Muslim. Doesn't make you a better person. You know, your morality is not founded upon anything solid, except that just happens to be some things I like or don't like. And the Prophet mentioned they will only keep away from evil when he didn't say they won't keep away from evil, they will, but only when it accords with their desires. And they only do good when it accords with their desires. So there's something different about the Muslim. The Muslim does not follow their desires. Their God is not their desires. They are not led by their desires. It's not what I feel like. It's not what I want. Being a Muslim is determined by what Allah tells us, what our Creator has guided us to. That's what being a Muslim is about. Whether I like it or I don't like it. Whether it is in accordance with my culture or not. Whether it's in accordance with what my parents want or not. What my friends say or not. That's not the issue. Whether it fits in with my lifestyle, because the Muslim's lifestyle is Islam. It is a way of living. It is submission and surrender to Allah. That's what Islam means, from istislam, to submit, to surrender. And it is something that is total, it's something that's complete. It's something that affects every aspect of the life. Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Say, inna, verily, inna salati, verily, my salah, my prayer, my ritual prayer, wa nusuki, and my sacrifice, wa mahya, and my life, wa mamati, and my death, is all for Allah. It is all for Allah. So this is something comprehensive. This is something that encompasses every aspect of our being. You see, for 5 years I worked in the London Central Mosque, and I wanted to try and how can I explain to these non-Muslim kids who are coming to find out about the mosque and about Islam, how can I get them to understand what Islam is about? And if I say to you, so again, let's go back to neuro-linguistic programming. If I say to most of you, even Muslims, if I say to you the word submission, what do you think? For most people, the word submission, is that negative or is that positive? Does it produce a positive feeling or a negative feeling? What do you think? Yeah, it's negative. Right? So when you go around saying Islam means submission, you just turn them off right there. You know? Because why? Because they're taught that they are free. This is a free society. We believe in freedom. This is a war against our freedoms, Bush said to everybody. Freedom, freedom, freedom. You're free. So if you say to people, submit, it's like the opposite of freedom. Why would I want to submit when I'm free? But of course, this is just brainwashing. That's all it is. It's propaganda. It's brainwashing. There is no such thing as freedom. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Am I free to kill whoever I like? Am I free to have sex with whoever I like? Am I free to park my car wherever I like? Am I free to even drive my car without a safety belt? If I feel like it. Can I even, actually let's take an iconic moment. An iconic cinematic moment of freedom. There is a film called Easy Rider. This film, Easy Rider, I suppose, epitomizes the whole concept of freedom in the West. You have these guys on their Harley Davidsons, on a road trip going around America, right? Born to be wild. So I know I probably look like one of those guys, right? So there they are on their Harleys, and the whole idea is that there you are on your Harley Davidson, the wind is blowing your hair and this and that, and no, in England you can't do that, because if you want to ride a motorcycle, you have to wear a helmet. Freedom. What freedom are we talking about? I'm not free in certain countries in Europe to deny the Holocaust. What happened to freedom of speech? The holy cow of all holy cows. I'm not free to make racially charged comments. I could be arrested. In fact, my freedoms are restricted in all sorts of ways. So what does it mean, freedom, exactly? What is this freedom? It's something that doesn't exist. All you can say is freedom is something relative. I'm free relative to these people. And even then you will find that you're only free relative to those people in certain respects. In certain respects. So it's really brainwashing. It's indoctrination. This claim to be freedom. And of course the irony is that they're not free at all. They are enslaved. Totally. Look at the whole financial system. In fact, the way that people are enslaved to banks, it's just amazing what's going on right now. People are virtually serfs. It's like serfdom. If you study feudalism, how in Europe there was the feudal system, and in the feudal system the lords protected the peasants, the serfs, from other lords, in fact, right? By offering them the protection of their castle, and in return for that, the serfs were basically they were slaves, but they were not slaves by name, but by reality they were. They worked on the lord's land, they paid the lord rent. Of course, almost always they never were able to produce enough produce to pay off the rent, which means they were constantly in debt, which means they were basically owned by the lords. Which sounds pretty much like everyone's situation with the banks right now. And the amazing thing is, when the banks collapse, the serfs have to pay from their own taxes to save the banks. Isn't that amazing? It's like when the master gets the stick and he beats his slave so much the stick breaks, then the